can't get skin cancer. I'm black and I'm proud.
I'm black and I'm proud.
You shine like gold, nigga.
Today's topic will be how the prison system was built against the black man. Before the emancipation of slaves, there were no national incarceration systems. In fact, most states didn't even have fully functioning prison systems until, of course, the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 freed 4 million slaves. With our freedom came homelessness and unemployment. And if that wasn't difficult enough, it was difficult to get jobs solely based on the color of our skin. And we all know they wouldn't teach slaves basic learning skills such as reading and writing. With little to no opportunities, many black people were left to rob and steal to get by. But here's where it gets confusing. Vagrancy laws were enacted, which made it a crime for a person to wander from place to place without any visible means of support. Basically, these laws criminalized being homeless and jobless. States use vagrancy laws to arrest, prosecute, and harass homeless and poor people who were suspected of criminal activity or who were considered undesirable. A majority of these people, these black people, were the black man. And here's where it gets worse. A year before these vagrancy laws were enacted, the 13th Amendment was ratified, and the 13th Amendment stated that slavery shall not exist in the United States unless it is as a form of punishment for a crime that was committed. If you were to be convicted of a crime, majority of people, mainly the black man, would have to do hard labor with chains on their feet. This is well known as the chain gang. So when we put two and two together, 4 million slaves were just recently freed, and majority of these slaves do not know how to read nor write, so they will not be useful in majority of jobs, and also are being discriminated because of the color of their skin. But wait, now the 13th Amendment states that slavery shall not exist unless you are a criminal. So now we're going to pass these vagrancy laws that say, hey, if you're homeless and jobless, you're a criminal. So, hey, guess what? Majority of these people who were just freed are now going right back into the cycle in the system and becoming slaves once again. And this is where the target on black men started. The black man was then made out to be a threat to society. Black men, who were commonly called a Negro, were made out to be out of control and menacing and evil and a big threat to the white woman. Post-Civil War, Birth of a Nation was a movie which was the first major blockbuster film and was an important cultural event. That is for all the wrong reasons, of course. The image of the black man in the movie was very demeaning and animalistic. And there's a very famous scene where a woman throws herself off of a cliff to avoid being raped by a black criminal. This scene is very important because it made the false image of a black man as being a rapist and a threat to the white woman. There then became a wave of terrorism where black men were being lynched and prominently targeted by not only society but by police officers as well. "14-year-old Emmett Till sadly became a victim to these false and demeaning agendas of an evil black man and was brutally murdered after being accused of whistling to a white woman. The men ended up later confessing that they did murder Emmett Till because he refused to stay in his place as a black man in the South. These disgusting men showed no remorse, and even though the case was reopened, they were not prosecuted. If the roles were reversed and the colors were changed, this will be a whole completely different story. But yet, the justice system has yet failed another black man. But the attacks and the blatant disrespect does not stop there. During Nixon's presidency, he felt like there needed to be a war on drugs in the U.S., and this jump-started the War on Drugs campaign, which criminalized drug abuse. Abuse is a very serious illness, which can be addressed by means such as rehabilitation, but instead it was criminalized, and many black men were taken from their families and were looking to facing life for just possession of drugs such as marijuana and crack. The media then came in and further tarnished the image of a black man. The media would use words such as thugs and savages and gang leaders to describe black men, or large groups of black people. But when it came to white people, the story was completely different. Here's a clip of black protesters being broadcasted on the news versus white rioters being broadcasted on the news.
The protesters are black, the media uses some pretty harsh words.
The bad guys, lawlessness, looting, wild animals, criminals, and thugs.
Thugs. Isn't it the right word?
However, if you're white and you're tearing up the city because of a game, you're just young people.
Young people danced on a flipped-over car as UK fans did stupid things.
Maybe got a little out of control.
Seeing a scene like this just shows how passionate the UK fans are.
It's so tough to lose, and unfortunately the ugly side that we sometimes see in sports.
And notice how the police always show up to a black protest in military-grade equipment, and yet the media claims they're just doing nothing.
It's inexplicable why the police are doing nothing. Let's mobilize the National Guard. If I'm a riot and I see the police doing nothing, I might feel like I have a license. You would.
But at white riots, the cops actually are standing around doing nothing.
Another group of cops over there, just standing there.
No one was really doing anything.
These guys look like they could be watching a parade.
Why is it that the leadership of the black community is always called into question?
Where is the leadership?
Leadership.
The black leadership.
The absence of leadership.
And it goes back to leadership, but that leadership has to come from the community.
But no one ever questions the leadership of white parents who let their kids burn down and vandalize their college campus.
They're just young college students who think they're playing some kind of a game with police officers.
No, sometimes they don't even call a white riot a riot.
Party gone awry.
Some fans got a bit too rowdy after the win.
Dispute.
Today, the black man is still seen as a threat and is often unjustly killed by police officers. Here are the names of the people who were felled by the prison system and were killed unjustly by police officers.
It was Freddie, Sam, Corey, Eric, Philando, Ahmad, Steven, Kenneth, Amadou, Jonathan, Christian, Terrace, Sean. Killed him a day before his wedding. Jamal killed him while he was in handcuffs. Mike killed him while he had his hands up. Kamani, Ramali, Phillip, Alton. About 3 Kevins, about 2 Jordans. John, Laquan, Bathon, Stephon, Tony, Tamir, Elijah, Antoine, Isel, Terrell, Dontre, Akai, George. For him, set the country on fire. Timothy, Patrick, Paul, Tyree, Quintonio, Darius, Jeremy, William, Anthony, Dante, Oscar, Kendrick, Keith, David, Walter, women like Sandra, Betty, Rihanna, India, Michelle, Tatiana, Tanisha, Rika, Natasha, Pamela, Janet, Megan, baby Ayana. All that we lost, your name live on. Wasn't killed by a cop, but I can't forget Trayvon. Can't forget Emmett, and all of those we lost to the beast. No justice, no peace.
The loss of these beautiful black innocent souls have ignited a flame in us, a flame of rage, a flame that has stemmed from injustice and discrimination that we will no longer put up with and we will no longer be silent about. We will fight, we will holler, we will riot, we will protest, we will do whatever we can for you to hear our pain and for you to hear our stories of the discrimination that we have to put up with for so long. We will fight until our black men are no longer targeted by police and no longer targeted by society, until these souls are no longer killed solely off of the fact that they are black. We will fight until we can sleep peacefully, until we can walk peacefully, until we can do anything peacefully, and most importantly, be black peacefully. This is a matter that will no longer be silenced and no longer be looked over. We have spoken, and we will keep speaking until something is done about it. Because our black men deserve better. Our black people deserve better.
Finish not getting better, you gotta know how to survive. Crazy, I had to tell all of my loved ones to carry a gun when they going outside. Stay in the mirror whenever you drive. Overprotective, go crazy for mine. You gotta pay attention to the sign. Seem like the blind following the blind. Thinking about everything that's going on. I boost security up in my home. I'm with my kind of, they right or they wrong. I call him now, he'll pick up the phone and it's 5 in the morning. He waking up on it. Tell him wherever I'm at, then they